All right, so it is time to start. Thank you for the sponsors. There's some boxes still that could use a good home, but I'm happy the capsules have gone out to people who really love the minis. I'm not saying it's not coffee. I'm not saying it's not. I just am saying that I'm having it and drinking it. The conversation hypnotic. I'm glad that your grade was stabilized. It seems, and we're all drinking wonderful beverages together, as you should at a D&D table. Mythical Hyena, as you are starting D&D, don't forget this is a socialization medium, and so when you play D&D, oftentimes you'll find tables will have snacks, or you'll eat dinner or lunch or whatever while you're playing. It's a great time. When you break bread with friends or family, you have good memories, you share stories, and it's a ton of fun. All right, it is now time to make our second Grung character, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it from the ground up. So, Mythical Hyena, anyone else that's new to D&D at all, or even those of you who've played but are new to the channel, you might see the way that we create our characters is different than what the player's handbook teaches. Doesn't mean it's harder. I think if you follow our technique, you'll have a very compelling character. Though, everyone plays differently. And that's another lesson to learn too, Mythical. While there are rule books, different tables might have different house rules. Ooh, Bark's root beer? Ooh, good stuff, Coffee. So we're making a Grung, and we're not worried about the Grung stuff yet. We need... Oh, you know what? I need another character sheet. 1 second. I'm still here with you all. I just need to rearrange some of the stuff that I have here. One moment. We're back to the tavern. The tumbled wench will take your order. I'm sure she has some quick service if you need a top off. Clearly, those are mugs of root beer she has. Clearly. Oh, and that's right. I can show you something. I can show you something too. All right, we're back to the workshop. You may, if you remember, I asked you all, do any of you remember seeing this elsewhere? In fact, Coffee Cat in particular, do you remember seeing this? Does this seem familiar to you somehow? And if not, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you where we have seen this character. And in fact, have you all seen this character? The answer is yes, you have. Let's see. This that you see on the screen, he is a mini. And you know what? This is a mini also. And if you want to know where that gorgeous tiefling is from, or some of these other very familiar looking minis, let me bring something up. Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Oh, snap! A tiefling battle master. Oh, my. And what is this? A human storm sorcerer? Where did we see a human? Oh. Oh. The cleric too? Yes. The or this paladin. I think she has an unpainted version. So you will find in the books, you will find inspiration for the minis that you pull from the various sets. You know, Town Guard out of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I don't think they have a Far Traveler yet. Although, Nina, if you're still out there, the Far Traveler here would be waifu material for you. So you don't have to compete with Coffee Cat for husbandos. Then my computer's at it again. So anyway, that's out there. I do have Uthgard members in our orphanage, too. Anyway, so Player's Handbook, etc. We have a new sheet. We're ready to go. How are we going to make a character? Well, well, well. I'm glad that you asked. We have a character randomizer that is going to take us through the process of creating a character. So the first thing we're doing, we're gonna just make some reference points. We don't have to worry about what does something mean. We'll get to that. Much like a constellation, right? A constellation is a series of points that are kind of abstract at first until you start filling it in with your imagination. That is how we are going to build our character. So, Mythical Hyena, you're new to D&D. Why don't you kick off rolling for this character? I need you to type in !1D100. Now, we're not going to make a multi-class character, as D&D time does not have multi-classing as an option. So we're going to go 1 to 50 is female, 51 to 100 is male. So just type !1D100 in chat, Mythical Hyena. Stops on a 69 again? That is our second 69 of the evening. Y'all, this is becoming its own meme in the network now. An uncanny number of that, and then the responses. All right, so we have a male character. And now for the racial sources, well, we're using Grung. We're locked into that. So now let's determine what is our alignment going to be. And Hark, will you also roll a percentile set? Will you roll a percentile set to find out what the alignment of our character is? Stops on a 58. A chaotic neutral character. Okay. And by the way, Mythical Hyena, if you have questions about what does any of this mean, what does it stand for, speak up in chat. You are absolutely welcome to ask these beginner questions. I expect them. I'm prepared for them, and you are definitely not dumb or should feel ashamed asking, well, what does chaotic neutral mean? Yeah, we're definitely some chaotic grung here. All right, now for our level, we're going to start at 2 and then add a D6. Because in D&D time, it's more low-level play. They have some higher-level characters, and you can earn a higher-level character. It just takes a little while of playing with them. Hypnotic, will you please roll a D6? All right, we're making a level 4 character. A level 4 character of some kind. Now, feats are off limits in D&D time, so we're going to be taking the stat bump at level 4. The background. All right. Phoenixina, will you please roll a D4? Hypnotic Gamer, will you please roll a 13-sided die? All right. 2 times 3 is 6. The background of our character is a charlatan. We are a charlatan of some kind. We're a deceptive grung. Mad Hatter, there are 6 different cons that are favored by charlatans in the player's handbook. Mad Hatter, will you please type exclamation point 1d6 to figure out which is our favorite? Charlatan 4. I don't know what that option is, and right now it doesn't matter. We're looking for placeholders, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss everything one step at a time to build a character and to breathe life into him. All right, now it's time to determine which class are we going to be playing in D&D time. Who's here I haven't called on yet? Coffee Cat, will you do the honors of... And before you roll the D12, if any of you want to put a prediction out there for what you'd like to see, Baloo, if you, I'll tell you what, if you got to get going, let's get some predictions. Coffee Cat will roll a D12, and you can roll the subclass, so you can leave a thumbprint or a fingerprint on this character. All right, Totem says Ranger, Hypnotic's feeling Druid. Regod Neo, hello. All right, Coffee Cat, will you roll a D12? Oh, Raz is getting super specific. My goodness. Stops on a 1. A Barbarian Grung. Blargle, thank you for re-upping. Thank you. Welcome back. Oh, and you're 1 month away from a nice cool picture of iced tea by your name. All right. Now, Baloos, if you haven't left yet, there are 6 different barbarians available in D&D time. Will you please type a D6 into chat and tell us which kind of barbarian our Grung is going to be? A Battlerager. Now, technically, Battleragers are dwarf only in Forgotten Realms. Doesn't mean that we can't apply it towards something else. Just like Blade Singers are elves only. Doesn't have to be. We have a Battlerager Grung. All right, thank you, Blues. Get to bed, get some sleep. Thank you for helping us build this character. A Battlerager Barbarian. This is going to be interesting. I already can tell we're going to get to cheese our poison skin. Okay. Now, barbarians don't have class features, so we're not worried about that. So the last thing to roll, we're using Goblin as a placeholder, because Goblins are about the same size and live the same amount of years as a Grung. You gonna come up, bud? Come on. You're playing an Ancestral Guardian Barbarian, and oh, well, you are playing a diverse amount of characters here, Coffee. We got to get the age. Regod Neo, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to find out where in the life cycle our Grung is? It is more cat butt time. Yeah, hey, if you want to talk about your Barbarian and D&D time, Blood Deuce, you're welcome to. All right, Baloo, sleep well. Here, yep, kitty kisses to you. Come on, Richie. Hey, what's over here? Huh? There you go. He smiled at you. We rolled a 33. We have a young adult Grung. So a young adult is 5 plus 1d3 years old. Thank you, Mythical. Blood Deuce, will you roll a d3 in chat to determine how young our Grung is? A young Grung, a young adult Grung. Young adult That's 5 plus 2 is 7. We're a 7-year-old young adult. So that'd be like the equivalent of like a 15, 16-year-old human. Or we're just around the, the age of majority, so we're technically or legally an adult, but we're not really. Because we still do dumb stuff when we're 16 or 18. All right, base height is 3'5". I'm going to roll 2d4. 4. We're 3 feet, 9 inches tall, and we weigh 39 pounds because we take our height modifier and multiply it by our weight modifier and add that to our base weight. So if that's confusing, Mythical, what we did, all races will have a base height of some kind. You then roll your height modifier and add that to the height. You take the number you rolled for your height modifier, you multiply it by your weight modifier, and then you add that to your base weight. So we're 3'9" at 39 pounds. Now, if you just want to say how tall you are, nothing stops you. This is simply a way that you can randomize it a little bit. Okay. So for the most part, not all of it, but for the most part, we have finished our random number generation, and we do not need our character builder anymore. What we will need are the Grung race options, but not yet. When building a character, I love starting with the background of the character. A Grung is a Grung is a Grung. A human is a human is a human. A wizard, they may have different spells, but a wizard is a wizard is a wizard. In our case, our background is who we are. It was our first job. It's what we did growing up as a hobby. It's something we hoped to be when we were a kid. It's even, our job, our adult job that we do when we're not adventuring. And so for those of you playing along at home, if you crack open your player's handbook to chapter 4, we are going to look at the Charlatan background. Charlatans are con men, confidence artists. They have a trick up their sleeve. Doesn't mean they're bad people. I mean, a lot of street magicians would be charlatans in a sense, though it doesn't mean they go around robbing people. Could they? Yeah. Do some of them? Probably. But you don't have to, you can have a criminal that is a good guy. A charlatan that, isn't a bad guy, but not a good guy. You can have an acolyte that is evil as sin itself. This is your character. Your character will work as your character works. All right, anyway. Charlatan. Being a charlatan, we have skill proficiencies in deception and sleight of hand. We also get tool proficiencies in a disguise kit and a forgery kit. So we're good at wearing costumes, putting on makeup, trying to look different. And forgery kits, we can try and mimic other people's writing styles or stamps and seals and the like. So disguise kit and forgery kit. And here we have a cat butt kit. So if any of you have the cat butt emote for the channel, excellent time to spam it. Hey, yeah, this is going to be an excellent one then for you, Mythical. Absolutely. Now, equipment. The equipment in D&D time isn't as important. Again, you have effectively unlimited money. You can buy all sorts of mundane stuff that you want. If you're building this character at home, then give your character what you see here as your starting equipment. Carry it with you. It's some useful stuff, things that will help you in the direction generally that many charlatans tend to go towards. And you can always talk to your DM and say, well, can I get this instead? Or can I get this also? And your DM might say, sure, that's fine. Now, our favorite scheme, that was the D6 that was rolled. Our favorite scheme that was rolled is number 4. And number 4, I put on new identities like clothes. So we are a disguise master, and not only just disguises, we have the paperwork to back it up, right? I have multiple identities that I can slip into. to try and fool people. I put on new identities like clothes. That's a little bit too long, so I'm just going to keep number 4 up here. Now, all charlatans, even if you have something else other than our scam of new identities, is false identity. So if you get that as your favorite con, maybe you can pick a second one, or maybe you talk to your DM, you get a bonus on something or another. False identity. You have created a second identity that includes documentation, established acquaintances, and disguises that allow you to assume that persona. Additionally, you can forge documents, including official papers and personal letters, as long as you have seen an example of the kind of document or the handwriting you're trying to copy. Really, really, really fun and good. And you might say, well, hold on, we have a barbarian. Aren't barbarians just, you know, like unga bunga, illiterate, muscle-bound meathead, you know? They can be, absolutely. Not all of them have to be. And when we discover more about what being a Battlerager entails, let alone the other things that we're getting from being this charlatan and a grung, and I wonder if any of you out there are thinking what I'm thinking when it comes to being a charlatan and a grung. Nelshir, you gotta head out. Oh, thank you for hanging out with us, Nelshir. Your barbarian's a gladiator comedian. I love it. It absolutely works, Coffee. Yeah, basically a wrestler, yeah. All right, if any of you are thinking what I'm thinking when it comes to false identity, particularly if we put on new identities like clothes, and we're a grung, if you remember the things that grungs get to do, we'll see, right? We'll come back to this. Oh, our personality trait. Mythical Hyena, will you please type exclamation point 4D6 in chat? And we're going to use the first 3 numbers for our character's ideal, bond, and flaw. Coffee Cat, will you roll a D8 in chat, and I'll match your D8 with one of my own. So mine is an 8. And we're going to get a personality trait from Coffee Cat, and Mythical Hyena is going to give us an ideal, bond, and flaw. 353. And Coffee Cat's second personality trait is number 7. Excellent. So now let's get to the juicy core of our grung. What is the personality of our grung? Sure, keep in mind we have a male grung, a Battlerager Barbarian. Got it. We're good on that. How does he express himself? Yep, you did it correctly, Mythical. I'm going to scoot this over so you all can see it easier. You should still be able to read it, but, you know, so you can see the document. Personality trait number 8. I pocket anything I see that might have some value. And our second personality trait is number 7. I keep multiple holy symbols on me and invoke whatever deity might come in useful at any given moment. We are a person of multiple identities as well. It's very cool that we have a personality trait that directly supports that. I pocket anything I see that might have some value, and I keep multiple holy symbols on me and invoke whatever deity might come in useful at any given moment. His ideal is number 3, charity. I distribute the money I acquire to the people who really need it. And you can say, well, hold on, Maddie. Charity says good in parentheses, and we have a chaotic neutral character. How does that work? And what even is chaotic neutral? In my opinion and expression, your alignment is how your character expresses him or herself verbally or through his or her actions. It's what occurs after the brain to mouth filter or the brain to action filter. A chaotic character doesn't get up in the morning and go, I'm wacky, I'm chaotic, lol, random, here's a spork, I'm the Penguin of Doom. A chaotic character can be that, but doesn't have to be that. A chaotic person is someone who thinks quickly, someone who adapts, maybe someone who doesn't stick to a particular consistency. You have an impulsive person. An impulsive person. Now, the impulse, you want to make it silly and go, ooh, squirrel, bright, shiny objects. Sure. You can have people that are extremely well-behaved and intelligent. And at all times, they're thinking of so many creative ideas. Artists, scholars. Not just Penguins of Doom holding sporks. They have so many ideas at all times, it could almost be distracting. Yet they're civilized, and they're educated. And so the realm of a chaotic person isn't just Looney Tunes. Neutral. A neutral person. If you're good, you are more willing to help others out, even if it means a detriment to you. In general. If you're evil, that's more of a selfish person than a selfless person. Right? And think about it. Mythical, evil could very well be the Joker. Could be Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Evil could be Sauron, or from any other media that you've consumed, or a story in your own head. And you could have a bad guy that wakes up in the morning and kicks every puppy in the street that he comes across and burns down every orphanage he passes because he's evil. You can have a Looney Tunes evil character. You can also realize that evil implies selfishness. And if you look at the core of any bad guys, quote unquote, that you've seen, many of them do what they do because they believe their plan is better. And they want to impose it on other people. I know we're in political season right now. Please don't read into that. This is apolitical. For any candidate, party, platform, whatever. This is agnostic to this. How many bad guys have you read about or played video games in or whatever that wanted to save the world and the people in it if only they just did things that character's way? So they're selfish. My way is best. I will definitely, or be more likely not to sacrifice myself, my time, my money for other people. I am more selfish than I am selfless, to whatever degree. Whether it's 51-49 or 99-1. A neutral character is someone who will help themselves, but before helping other people. Generally. A neutral person could just be an indecisive person. And if you look at some video games like Fallout 3, you could murder an entire town. But if you give a couple bottles of distilled water to a homeless person, your cosmic karma will balance out and you'll become a good guy again, as if you didn't just murder the entire town. So you could look at it like, well, yeah, you know what? I killed this person, so I should probably donate 5 gold pieces to the church. I'm neutral. Are you? Your dungeon master who will be running for you will talk about their interpretation of character creation, Mythical. What I'm presenting is a way, in my opinion, a solid way to create characters, though I'm sure there's other people here that will say, well, I don't build characters this way, or I don't allow evil characters, even if they are thoughtful and considerate evil characters, which is fine. Again, you know, evil characters don't have to murder people, but they might just say, look, I don't want any evil, just whatever. So game by game, it can be different based on the flavor that you want to bring to it. Egolius Fortuna, did I pronounce that correctly? I always justify my actions when I play chaotic neutral. Oh, well, especially in 5th edition, Egolius, paladins are free from the stricture that they have to be lawful good. Perfect, awesome. I'm glad. And so here we have, I distribute the money I acquire to the people who really need it. And so we have someone who will acquire through deception, or it's just their job to entertain people through their chicanery. They'll get money, they'll serve themselves, they'll make sure they eat, they have a roof over their head. And then from there, they decide, perhaps on a whim, perhaps they just have a rotating chart of people that at that moment they feel need the charity the most. And so yes, it does say good in parentheses after charity. Doesn't mean you have to have a good character that does this. You can have an evil character who does this. Nothing at all stops the Joker, arguably a chaotic evil character, from going to a church and dropping $5 into the donation jar, or the bin, or the box, or the, pass the plate. That doesn't necessarily make the Joker a less evil person. And yet nothing stops him from doing it, and the Joker could wholeheartedly believe, you know what? I'm doing the world good by supporting this charity. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the world good in other ways. From the opinion. Anyway, let's continue. Bonds, number 5. A powerful person killed someone I love. Someday soon, I'll get my revenge. Ooh, this is why your background is so important to your character. It hooks you to your world. We have just created an NPC, sure, a dead NPC. But an NPC, who is it? A family member? A girlfriend or boyfriend? Someone in our profession? A mentor that we respected? Or maybe just a kid we grew up with. Maybe we're never really friends. Maybe we're even rivals or frenemies. Because love could be a fraternal love, a platonic love. You could just step sideways and say, well, I don't know if I want to play a character that loves other people. Maybe it's outside your comfort zone. And so you could just say, well, based on the prompt, I'll stick to the spirit of the prompt and say a powerful person killed someone I know and respected. Or that I know and, I had a particular, that person was supposed to be mine to kill. Ugh, I'm going to get revenge on the one who beat me to it. All of these are ways that you can take the core of the prompt and run it extremely literally, or have some wiggle room with it. Make a character you want to play that's compelling. And if you're a dungeon master, please read the ideals, bonds, flaws, all of this for the characters playing with you, because they're going to help populate your world and have an awesome impact on the story. Egolius Fortuna, thank you very much for the follow, and I'm very happy that I've earned your follow. Oh, look at that emote. That is a very, very serious face. And our flaw, because we are all flawed creatures, Mythical, do not fall into the trap to make a Bishonen anime protagonist in D&D. You can. You absolutely can. Though I think you'll find you'll have more fun if you don't play a type of character called a Mary Sue, and if you're not familiar with that term, I'm sure someone in chat can help you out with it. Instead of playing a Mary Sue, don't be afraid to play a character that has flaws. A character that has weak spots. That's what will set your character apart more than just being another Superman. And this character's flaw is number 3. I'm convinced that no one could ever fool me the way I fool others. No disguise will get past us. And we're haughty about it. We're braggadocious about it. Even in the face of people have done it before. No, of course. I totally knew that person was not that person. Come on. This is me you're talking to. And me you're talking to. And me you're talking to, right? Right? Come on, guys. And me. Flaws are the best, and I hope I could pick 2 of them. Yeah, Agolias, or do you want me to call you Agolias, Fortuna, Aggie? Let me know how. I don't mind Agolias. Let me know how you want me to address you in chat. You're very welcome for the advice, though, Mythical. And again, if you have questions, ask along the way. So there we go. We have these roleplay prompts that also bridge from what we call fluff. That's the storytelling, backstory stuff. It's the intangibles. It's a bridge from the fluff to the crunch. The crunch is the math. The crunch is I'm rolling for success in a skill to determine how successful I am, or if I am at all. So excellent. We can now consider this character, right? We're a master of disguise. We pocket anything we see, but you know what? We give to people that we consider to be less fortunate. And so that makes you ask, well, so why do I do this? Why do I dress up? Maybe to mock. I could be a clown. I could mock political figures. I could mock great other public whomevers. I could do it to sneak into nobles that I think are corrupt, and I'm going to steal from them. Kind of Robin Hood it. That works here too. We can imagine our character making decisions in different circumstances. At least I hope so. So Mythical Hyena, you're a wonderful test for this. Simply by going through the background process alone, with this character, would you feel comfortable imagining a decision he'd make in a certain situation? Can you come up with, yeah, I could justify role-playing this? Or do you at least feel comfortable with a character like this now that we've explored who he is and not just what the stats are that he's rolling? Black the Ghost Killer, hello, just love to listen to other people making characters. You're gonna lurk. Well, thank you for thank you for lurking. Thank you for speaking up. And hey, if you have an opinion or a question, Ghost Killer, you are always welcome to ask in chat. We may be running a workshop. That doesn't mean that we don't have time to have a conversation about a question. Agolias is fine. People who don't know Latin call me just Fortuna. But I like how you pronounce it greatly, so call me which one? Then I shall say Agolias. It sounds nice and it reminds me of aioli, and nothing is as good as like a nice garlic mushroom aioli. Oh my goodness. A little? Well, let's keep building the character, Mythical, and let's find out how more comfortable you are with the process. Oh, yeah. Ghost Killer, we do not do optimal builds here. We don't cheese, we're not munchkins, so you will get all kinds of fun builds in this workshop. So thank you for finding us and giving us a chance. So now that we have our background, you know, we have our placeholders, right? We filled in our background. We know more about the character. Our character has character now. RP is greater than min-max. I agree with that, Agolias. Now we're going to put on our racial traits. So we're going to go back over And for any of you playing along at home, actually, here's the D&D Time Homebrew Compendium, as we are doing kind of a crossover promotion with Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time. All this week in a workshop, we've been making characters using their homebrew races. So in particular, we're going to go to the Grung. Now, I read about the casts and colors, in the general cultural prompt. You do not have to abide by this at all in your home game or in D&D Time, unless you have a DM that says we're running this by the book, and you could have DMs that do that. This is simply a good way for you to get an idea of the culture that spawned the stats that you see. Now, if you recall, our Charlatan number 4, I put on new identities like clothes. This is what came to my mind. All Grungs are born a dull greenish gray, but each individual takes on the color of its caste as it grows to adulthood. In these castes, green Grung are the tribe's warriors, hunters, and laborers, and blue Grung work as artisans and other domestic roles. Supervising and guiding both groups are the purple Grung, which serve as administrators and commanders. Higher castes include orange Grung, which are elite warriors that have authority over all lesser Grungs, red Grung, which are the tribe's scholars and magic users, and gold Grung, which are the highest leadership positions. So are you thinking what I'm thinking? If we're making a Charlatan character that quickly changes disguises and has an alternate identity, we very much have a chameleon, a social chameleon. Black the Ghost Killers, thank you very much for the follow, and I'm happy that I earned that from you, and I'll continue to earn that follow. We can go through Grung society, or even external to it, and have people think of us as any kind of a Grung that we want. Well, we hope. That's our flaw, right? We are fluid among the Grung, and therefore we can use that as an extremely potent tool inside and outside Grung culture. You've been using the Gloomstalker Ranger a lot because the Ranger is called weak to the other classes, proved it wrong, while doing it in style as a tiefling. No, share your character. Ghost Killer, absolute. Share your character, a circumstance, tales from your tabletop. That's what we're about here. We have a section on our Discord. If you like what we do here, you'll love our Discord, by the way. You are welcome to share any of that in chat. You don't need to step back. Mad Hatter says, I want to make an item that's basically a pair of boots with ice skate blades on them that are enchanted with the ice element and has fire gems put into the heels to make rocket-propelled ice skates. Is that possible? Well, of course. Indeed, this is a game of imagination and creativity, Mad Hatter. I don't see why something like that wouldn't be possible. Yeah, well, yeah, if you want to post it in small segments or talk about something or yeah, you're welcome to. Just remember that there's a character limit, and if you type too much, it won't show up. Or if it's like 5 big blocks of text, I will read it. I just can't always guarantee I can instantly do it while we're doing the workshop. All right, Grung traits. Dexterity goes up by 2. Constitution goes up by 1. Grung mature to adulthood. So we already have our age. We're a young adult at 7 years old. We have our size. Our base speed is 25 feet. And you know what? We get a climb speed also because of our grippy toes. I know that says sticky toes. It's an inside joke. I'm stirring the pot with the D&D Time community. Sticky toes gives us a climbing speed of 25 feet. All right. We are amphibious. We can breathe air and what. And by the way, I'd rather you focus on this. So while I'm typing out of the box, just know that I'm filling in the traits as I'm reading them off over here. Nice and easy. Just a referential thing. So we are amphibious. We can breathe air and water. Aposematic coloration. A what now? You can look it up, though this might give you a hint. When a creature you can see would target you with a bite attack, you may use your reaction to show off your colors, imposing disadvantage on the attack roll. After you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Remember, the Grung are like poison dart frogs. They're brightly colored. And do you know why creatures are generally brightly colored? You made your first in-game homebrew spell this week. You're inspired from another one. Oh, that's great, Average Joe. Aposematic coloration. And by the way, Mythical and all you other D&D players, I'll tell you, nothing will expand your vocabulary like a role-playing game like this. We have poison resistance. You have advantage on saving throws against poison, and you have resistance against poison damage. You are immune to the poisonous skin feature of other Grung. So I'm making these notes over on the side here. We also have poisonous skin. A creature that ends its turn in direct contact with your skin suffers damage equal to your Constitution modifier. Additionally, when you damage a creature using a blowgun, you may deal extra damage equal to your Constitution modifier, and the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, becoming poisoned until the end of its next turn on a failure. The DC for this saving throw equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your con modifier. Do you know what a Barbarian would be really good at? Are any of you seeing a way that we could have some fun with our poisonous skin? Okay, yeah, I think we talked that was a possibility on our Discord, Hypnotic. Brightly colored say you lick them? Yeah, totally, Average Joe. Grappling, there we go. Grappling. Big, strong Barbarian, let's give him a hug and just seep our poison. Seep our poison into them. Totally. Now, we also have a standing leap. This is a way for us to modify the normal jumping rules. Your long jump is up to 25 feet, and your high jump is up to 15 feet, with or without a running start. We have sticky toes. Because of your sticky toes, you have a climbing speed of 25 feet, and we already put that on our character sheet. And languages, we can speak Common and Grung. Excellent. No, that's a magical cantrip, Hypnotic. This is just natural in our skin. So, excellent. We have a Charlatan, who our character is. We have a Grung, what our character is. Now, let's build a Barbarian to find out how our character does what he does. And the Battlerager we'll get to is in a separate book than the player's handbook. So we're simply going to go to classes, and we're only looking at what we're applying for being a Barbarian. Because we'll apply our subclass stuff from the, I think that's Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Let me double check real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, 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 beep. Yep, there's Battlerager. Alright, we're a 4th level character. Now, Mythical, if you want to practice this, simply make a 1st level character and then apply every level 1 step at a time. Some things may seem redundant, but it's good practice and it's not too difficult. This chart will show you what you get at each level. So we're of... Oh, I don't want to do that. Oop. Alright, there we go. At 4th level, our proficiency bonus is a +2. We are going to get to Rage. Rages, we get 3 per day. Actually, it's not even just that. It's not by it's like long rest. I think is it short rest it resets too. Once you've raged a number of times. Oh no, it is a long rest. So we have 3 per long rest, and when we're raging, we get some fun stuff. We get extra damage. We get +2 damage when we're attacking with a strength melee weapon and we're raging. As a barbarian, we are a D12 hit die class. So we have we tend to have the most hit points of any class. We're level 4, so we get 4 D12 hit die. Your hit die are things that are going to supply you hit points. They're also, the reason why they're called hit die is because you can roll them during a rest to naturally recover hit points. It's like catching your breath, calming yourself down. Hit points aren't always just injury. You're not getting flayed open every time you take a hit in combat. But we have 4 D12 hit die as we're 4th level. So at 1 you'd have 1, 2 and 2, etc. We have armor proficiencies. We have light, medium armor proficiencies as well, and we can also use shields proficiently. Weapons, all simple and martial weapons. We're very well versed with weapons. No tool proficiencies. Saving throws are going to be strength and constitution, where we're going to add our proficiency bonus. Now we get to choose 2 skills. Remember, we got sleight of hand and deception from our background. Now, what are we going to pick up for being a barbarian? Animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, survival. Well, let's see. I pocket anything I see that might have some value. I keep multiple holy symbols on me and invoke whatever deity might come in useful. Well, we have deception. A powerful person killed someone I love, and someday soon I'll get revenge. Ooh. Could any of those skills help us get revenge? I'm convinced that no one could ever fool me the way I fool others. So as a charlatan, we practice disguising ourselves. So we have 2 characters that are going to meet up and raise cups and curse an infernal at each other? Athletics. I think athletics is really going to pay off, since we definitely want to go up and give people hugs. That's a part of who we are in our flavor. As well, being strong, being able to climb and swim and do all this other stuff. We need to become as powerful, if not more powerful, than the person who killed someone that we loved. I don't know if we'd have survival, as we're probably more of like a city-dwelling Grung, because we're trying to take advantage of other people and the money and the hospitality that they would give us in our disguises. Perception could be useful. You know, knowledge nature could help us if we want to try and get a certain disguise, you know, to look less like an animal or a humanoid, and to try and disguise ourselves as plants, or to use plants in creative ways. That could end up being something that would be useful. And it also breaks, I think it breaks a stereotype for a lot of barbarians that they can't have some sort of good thinky bits going on upstairs. But I don't see him as particularly, you know, intimidating. Can be, but we have more of a schmoozer than a scarer. Animal handling could be the other argument instead of nature. Although I think he'd look for opportunities in nature more than being able to handle an animal, because we're used to working with people. Ooh, although animal handling, many times then, people might have guard dogs or something. And so if we want to slip past them that might be able to smell something, we should know how to handle. I like that train of thought. How do you get character sheets? You can download them for free. You can use that link for the standard ones, mythical. Or if you want a variant sheet, kind of like you see what we're using, you can use that link. Hypnotic, you got to get going? All right. Yep. I'll see you around. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for helping to, sponsor the channel by adopting some minis through the gacha capsules. Okay, our starting equipment, again, for D&D time, you get your starting equipment, and if you want other equipment, they're very generous with it for a lot of mundane armor and weapons and things along those lines. So for purposes of making a D&D time character, I'm not worried about, well, do we take a great axe? Any martial weapon? What do we use? I'm skipping over that for the meta of playing specifically in D&D time one-shots. I already have, I have our Rage reference. Rage is a fun mechanic, and for new folks like Hyena, Mythical Hyena, don't look at this and go, oh my gosh, I have to memorize all this every time? You'll get used to it. You start at level 1, you use your abilities over and over. You might miss it sometimes too, don't worry about it. But don't let some, you know, there's a bullet list and some paragraphs. Don't let that fool you. It's not super complex stuff. There are just some things that need to be spelled out in a particular way to actually provide clarity to you, instead of leaving it muddled. All right, Hark, thanks for joining us and rolling some dice. We get unarmored defense. While you're not wearing armor, your armor class equals 10 plus dex plus con modifier. You can use a shield and still gain the benefit. So we have unarmored defense. We also get danger sense. You have the uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects you can see, such as traps and spells. Our primal path, we're going to get to it. We get that at level 3, but that's not in this book. And at level 4, we get an ability score improvement, meaning that we're going to get to boost some of our ability scores. 1 score by 2, or 2 scores by 1. And so we'll do that when we're actually worried about numbers. So we have a Barbarian. Now, in particular, let's make a low-level Battlerager Barbarian. We go now to the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Now, this says dwarves only. Only dwarves can follow the path of Battlerager. Your DM can lift this restriction to better suit the campaign. The restriction exists for Forgotten Realms. It might not apply to your DM setting, so if you're playing by the book to Forgotten Realms, this is a Darf thing only. But here we have a Grung who can do this. Battlerager Armor. When you choose this path at 3rd level, you gain the ability to use spiked armor as a weapon. While you're wearing spiked armor and are raging, you can use a bonus action to make 1 melee weapon attack with your armor spikes against a target within 5 feet of you. If the attack hits, the spikes deal 1d4 piercing damage. You use your strength modifier for the attack and damage rolls. Additionally, when you use the attack action to grapple a creature, the target takes 3 piercing damage if your grapple check succeeds. Not only are we then can we have the ability to wear spiked armor, and we're dealing damage on a grapple because we're holding them to us, our poison is also going to work as they're starting their turns in our special hug. And so now not only are we dealing that piercing damage, we're dealing poison damage, and if they fail their save against our poison, they receive the poisoned condition, and that is debilitating. You can absolutely lock down an enemy with this kind of a build, and not only diminish their damage output, but also continue to damage them, and make it easier for your friends to hit, because you're a big spiked armor wearing Grung. Big is relative. He's 3'9". Comes up, gets someone, pulls them onto their spikes and holds them, and is dealing spike damage and poison damage and making it so they have disadvantage to hit. And poison condition also, I gotta double check this real quick. A poison creature is disadvantaged on attack rolls and ability checks. And so what that's going to mean is the ability to wiggle out of our grapple is going to be increased. Well, I'm sorry, decreased for them, because they're rolling at disadvantage versus us maintaining it with our big strength. So this is a very cool combo. And, because we think, well, barbarians are supposed to have two-handed axes and 100 damage. 100 damage. You know what? This isn't necessarily 100 damage output barbarian, but this barbarian will absolutely work with a team to wreck things. So we get our Battlerager armor. Oh, by the way, we do get bonus damage from going for raging also. So actually, this increases by some more. Reckless Abandon, beginning at 6th level and use Reckless Attack while raging. You also gain temporary hit points. So we're not high enough yet for this. So we're not worried about this here. We have our ability because we're making a low level Grung, level 4. Nice and simple. There we go. Oh yeah, this build is nasty. And you know what? This is also something, Coffee Cat, you want to talk about a wrestler? We grapple someone and then, we could pile drive them in a sense. Grab, jump using our frog leg ability. Or even, oh, you want to know what's super gross? We have a climb speed. We can stick to the ceiling. Can you imagine a spiky frog crawling in the dark on a ceiling, and then just sort of goes and grabs you and pulls you up and holds you while dangling off the ground into its poison spike body? And you're probably gonna have disadvantage in trying to get out of this grapple as you're just as you're flailing. The spikes are digging in, the poison seeping into your body. Your attacks and your skill checks are a disadvantage during this as well. Oh, this is gross. So much fun also. This would be fun to play at any table, let alone at D&D time. Though in D&D time, you'd get a lot of use out of this. But I digress, even though we're talking about D&D time. I like saying that. Cool. We have our background. We have our race. We have our class and our subclass. Our character sits atop a stool, and a stool needs 3 legs to be stable. We have each of those legs. Now that we have the chassis for the character... Oh, and by the way, we have someone who infiltrates society. And so we can look like any other cast member. Oh, like, that's just a green grung. Yeah, you let them in. They're harmless. They're just laborers. Then we sneak into the camp and suddenly... Now we can add the standard array of starting ability scores into our abilities. And so, I would like to see... If we did 15... 14... 13... No, con is very important. You know what? Let's put 15 in con and have hit points for days. 15, 14, 13. Oh, if we want to deceive? Ooh. 13, 12, 10, and 8 intelligence. Probably not the most intelligent. That's fine. You don't have to be. Doesn't need weapons is the weapon. Yeah. So now at level 4, we have our ability score improvement, also known as ASI, also known as stat bump, where we get to add 2 points to 1 or 1 point to 2 abilities. Whoops. Our dexterity goes to 14 from our racial, and con goes to 16. I think we need to be able to hold on to people very well, so we're going to make a 16 strength. We're going to drop our 2 points in that. That's going to give us 3 strength, 2 dex, 3 con, -1 int, 0 wisdom, and 1 charisma. Our strength saving throw is proficient, so it's going to be 5. Our modifier plus our bonus. Athletics is the same. Modifier plus bonus because we're proficient. Where I have it filled in here with the little black dot. Dexterity, saving throws 2. Acrobatics 2. Stealth 2. Now when we make a save against something we can see, we actually get to roll twice and keep the highest. That's what advantage means. Sleight of hand is 4. Because we're proficient. Constitution saving throw is a 5. 3 plus 2. Intelligence, I'm just going to copy and paste the 1 here. Wisdom is 0 down the line from save to skills, except animal handling, which is a 2. And lastly, charisma, where we have a 1. Our saving throw is 1. Intimidation, performance, persuasion. But because we're proficient in deception, we can add our proficiency bonus to our charisma modifier. And we get 3. Our passive perception is 10, as that's 10 plus our perception modifier, and that's just our natural awareness. Any of your passives just represent, we're sitting here talking, we're discussing things, and if you're in your room watching this stream, would you hear if someone opened your front door? Even though you're not actively listening, you're not expecting someone to come over at this hour, I presume. I don't know, maybe you have like a super late night Chinese. Oh, that would be so good. A big just takeout of Chinese food right now sounds so good. Anyway, maybe you have a super late night Chinese place and you were expecting it. Still, you're paying attention to the workshop. But if you hear that on your door, that's your natural awareness. And you could say, well, there's passive insight because that's your BS filter, and other such things. Your passive investigation as well. Anyway, armor class. Now, this is entirely dependent on if we wear armor and what kind of armor we wear. If we're completely naked, this is PG-13. If we're wearing underwear, we use our, of course, I mean, there's our spike armor. We'll We'll discuss that. But let's say that we are naked, okay? Or we're in our loincloth. We get an unarmored defense equal to 10 plus our constitution modifier plus our dexterity modifier. So we have a natural armor class of 15. If we wield a shield, that goes up to 17 because a shield is 2 AC. And so we could have a weapon in one hand and a shield in the other. But if you want to go two-handed, you drop the shield and it's up to you. Do you want to hit harder for more damage and have, and be able to be hit better? Or do you want to be more armored and hit for slightly less damage? It's up to you. You want to be, this is Pokemon. Do you want to be a hit point tank? Or do you want to have physical or special resistance tank? When you reckless attack as a barbarian later, you're making it super easy for people to hit you. Arguably, armor class is not, not as important because you're a lot of times going to make it easy for people to hit you. So you would rely probably more on your hit points or some clever fighting. But anyway, let's presume we don't have a shield for this. And then we just have a 15. Our initiative is a dex check. So, hey, we're kind of a twitchy barbarian. We will roll a d20 and add 2 when our DM calls for initiative. We have 0 dark vision, so we cannot see in the dark. Swim speed of 12, as that's half of our movement. It's 2 squares for every 1 to swim, as opposed to our walk. And we do not have a fly speed, so it's 0. Hit points. Let's calculate hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum amount of hit points equal to your hit point modifier. Your hit die, I'm sorry. Equal to your hit die. So at level 1, we're a D12, so we get all 12 hit points. For the other 3 of our 4 levels, you get half plus 1 of your hit die. So half of 12 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Nice and average. You might have a DM that makes you roll your hit die. They are dice after all. It's not just for recovery. They could determine your hit points. That's up to you and your DM. Because Grung the Barbarian can roll 1, 1, 1 for 3 levels in a row and have less hit points than Larry the Wizard, who rolled 6, 6, and a 6 for his hit points. In D&D time, they take average plus 1. Then for all of our levels, all 4 of them, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. So here's our easy math. 12 plus 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 times 3 is 12. So we have 33. Now we have 45. We have 45 hit points at level 4. It's pretty good. Gage Merrill, welcome. Hey, it's Mythical. I'm on a different account on the computer. Oh, all right. 1 second then. Gage slash, let's see, it's Char Sheet and Charvar for the variant. You also had a battle encounter, says Ghost Killer. I used volley, poison, and lightning arrow. I killed the boss, minions. My DM said 3 times over because the boss was with sneak attack and my lightning arrow was just too much damage. Ooh, nice wombo combo, Ghost Killers. Average Joe says no shield, no two-handed weapon, dual grapple. We're just collecting people and spike, spike, spike. So where Little John wants to call out shots, we're just spike, 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 spike. Going around giving everyone hugs. 14 AC range fighter has had 5 people get to me but never hit me. I outstarted them with magic. Well, in D&D time, they do not allow feats. But yes, the tough feat absolutely would be beautiful for this character, Ghost Killer. Absolutely. Good call. You offer your players the choice to roll, says Joe. So is it consistent? Do you say everyone rolls or everyone takes average, or do you just keep it case by case? None of them rolled. All right, Refry, thank you for sharing. You know, I had your minis up for a little bit after the one break, but unfortunately for the conversation, everything happening, I didn't get to specifically go through them because I had the art tab open. But for all of you who'd like to see, Refry is an artist in our community and is painting up some minis. So please stop by your creations on our Discord and check them out. All right, so we have our hit points. We have our at least our in our underwear AC. If we're attacking with a strength weapon, and I'm not specifying because I don't know what weapon this character would use, but in general, if we're attacking with a strength weapon, your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus, because we're proficient with those weapons, we're going to be rolling at a +5. And it's going to be a +4 for any dexterity weapons. We may be a barbarian, but we can shoot a bow and arrow pretty well. We won't get our bonus rage stuff with it. But we can still do it. Sometimes you just got to light an arrow on fire and set something, you know, set a village on fire 100 feet away. 300 feet away or whatever. Doesn't matter if you're a barbarian or not. Excellent. We have a character, everyone. We have a character. You know, we don't have to worry about spells. No companion to speak of. We have all of our attributes, and so this is a viable level 4 character in D&D time. The only thing he's missing is a name. And so what are some names that you think a character like this would be called? Now, if we go by naming conventions as per Grung that are listed here for Pete and Jeremy's D&D time, Grung names are often rooted in their coloration, caste, or the history of their societies. These names are often difficult to say for those who don't speak their native language, so many Grung will adopt alternative names that are easier to pronounce in common when traveling with individuals from other cultures. So some common some sample Grung names: Bopple, Croaker, Greenie, Gob, Moss, Slippy, Sneeple, Plurple, Perpy. This character can have the name Plurple. This character can have a sophisticated name. Now, of course, we have an alternate identity, which means we could come up with this is our orange identity. This is our purple identity. We can have a ton of fun with that, but the core character is made, and I want to know what the core character's name is. Orangeback McHuggin-Squeeze? Spike? Ooh, coffee. Well, don't push yourself. Don't make a crappy panel that you just wasted all that sleepy time on. It's better to get sleep and come back fresh to it than to get through it and say, oh, I regret not sleeping that hour or 2 hours, and I have to redo everything. You had a party that rolled. That's the one with my Ranger Rogue that I'm playing tomorrow. Oh, a party that's rolling like in a story, through a story. Welcome back, Mythical. So I wonder what our original would be then. I would almost say we started blue. As an artist or another domestic role, we learned the fluidity of society. And if not blue, then perhaps even purple. Supervising, guiding both groups are the purple Grung, who are administrators and commanders. So maybe we were a low-level administrator. We were able to see the social strata down from us and up from us, and it gave us a really creative sense. And so we might have been born purple, but we can disguise ourselves into any other color of society. You rolled stats because the DM is hard on his world and loves that we use our heads and not just battle and not... Oh, good, good. Yeah, you know, when you're world building and not just fighting and having a power game of dice rolling, it's so much more meaningful. Oh, you're drawing... Oh, yeah, that's right, because Gutter's been creeping around seeing what's happening. What about this? If we have a purple Grung... What about Grape? Grape kind of sounds like Grappler. Grape. Grapelle? Grapelle? Grapelle kind of sounds like a Grung name. Grapple. Purple. Grape. Small round. Love the world and actually want to take care of it. He actually loves the group, but moves next month, so we're wrapping it up and finishing it with a... Ooh! That's... Oh, I would love to hear the tale from your tabletop when that happens. I'm sorry to hear that the group has to break up because of that Ghost Killer, but if you are willing to share that in Tales of the Tabletop with us, I would love it. Grapple? Or we could say Grapelle? Grapelle? There we go. It's cultural, it's fun, it's D&D, it's time. And by that, I mean, oh, it's past 5 a.m. Eastern here. So we have another character, everyone. Now, as we are going to wind stuff up, I love, for people who are friends of the channel, I love rating them when I am working up, or I'm finishing up the workshop. I want to support people who are, you know, friends of our community, other streamers that share their content with us and will rate us or, you know, give us shout outs. Because look, we do business with people who do business with us. That's how us small channels, small broadcasters work. And so I believe what we're going to do, oh yes, we are going to take a trip down to Australia. And we're going to visit the Salty Dragon Tavern. You don't need a passport to come down with us. Where it's springtime. They're stealing our summer, everyone. Day by day. It's happening. But that's fine. I don't begrudge them. We've had enough summer. So let's go raid the Salty Dragon Tavern. See you in Detroit. Yeah, coffee. Make sure you and Derek shout that out from the tallest mountains. Oh, you're getting fan art made too? Oh, Ghost Killer. If you're willing to share, I'd love to see. Alright, so let's raid the Salty Dragon Tavern. Definitely friends of the channel. A fun-spirited Australian group. Not to be confused with the Gathering of Nerds, who's another fun and high-spirited Australian group. We broadcast in a weird time in the US, which is kind of prime time for Australia, so that works out well. Yep, Mythical, thanks for stopping by. If you have questions, ask them in our Discord. We have a mentor network. Remember, this was the last broadcast of the week. I do not broadcast Sunday and Monday nights normally. We'll come back on Tuesday for roleplay, Wednesday through Saturday. Hey, it's another workshop week. We'll find out what we're doing then, huh?